All right, folks, it's another episode of America's Hometown Horror that's brought to you yet again by another new sponsor. How about that, you guys? How about that? And that sponsor tonight is called Brush. Brush is an electric toothbrush that will change the way you think about brushing your teeth. With powerful sonic technology and ultra-gentle bristles, Brush redefines what it means to have super clean teeth. It's like that feeling you get right when you leave the dentist, a fresh, whole-mouth clean every single day. Our listeners, those would be the listeners of America's Hometown Horror Podcast, get 15% off their total purchase with code POD15. That's POD15. Follow the link in the show description and enter the code POD15, again it's POD15, to get your exclusive discount and upgrade your oral care routine.
Yes.
Guys, you excited to upgrade your oral care routine?
Absolutely.
I don't want to use a brush anymore. I want to use a brush.
Perfect. Sounds good to me.
That was good, Andrew.
What is up, folks? What is going on? My goodness, it feels like it's been a minute, even though it's only been 1 week, or a little over a week, since we released our last episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. Thanks so much for joining us for another episode. We've had an exciting couple of weeks, and tonight it's just the three amigos yet again, huh? How about that? Nice little
back to reality.
Nice little throwback. Back to the beginning.
Three best friends that anybody could have.
We're the three best friends that anybody could have. And yeah, this is fun tonight. This is gonna be a fun one for sure. But again, my name's Mike. I'm the host of America's Hometown Horror. Thanks again for listening. And as always, I'm not alone in the studio here right now. I have some of my esteemed co-hosts who you've already heard, and those two are Kat and Andrew. Hey, you guys, what's going on?
Not much. What's going on with you?
Not a whole lot. Andy?
Same old,
Andy
same
boy?
old. Just enjoying May the 4th.
Andy, my boy.
Andy, my boy.
Yes, of course. And
May
May
the
the 4th be with you. And happy Cinco de Drinko.
And also
Yes.
with you.
And also with you.
With your
And with your
spirit.
spirit. With your spirit. Goddamn Catholics had to go mixing everything up on us, huh? So yeah, what's been new? Anything been going on? I mean, I know it's been a little while since we've had this little bit of like bullshitting before we actually get into whatever topic we're going to talk about for a particular movie. We had a couple of live episodes the last couple of weeks, so we haven't really done this. So like, what's been new? What's been going on?
Nothing.
I would first and foremost, like I said, we've had a crazy couple of weeks, and I would like to take a moment to say thank you to our previous guests. Starting out with Amanda from Spook Eats. That was an awesome interview. We had a blast. A lot of fun talking to her. She was a good sport. And then also, obviously, the crew from Spooky World, the movie, which we talked to them live on Facebook and YouTube last Sunday night. Hopefully, you guys checked that out. If not, you can find the audio-only version of that interview on our podcast feed. So wherever you listen to us, you can find it right there. If you haven't listened to that yet, I would say, what are you waiting for? Go listen to it.
100%.
They broke some news. I had a lot of fun these last 2 weeks, you guys. What did you guys think?
Best part about the Spooky World podcast is you don't have to listen to us at all. Like, we barely talk. It's mainly the guys you want to hear talk. I mean, Mike talks. I think I said like 5 things.
Mike talks.
I said like 5 things. But
I know. No, it was awesome to talk to them.
They were amazing. The amount of information they just had to just off the cuff just talk about was fantastic.
Yeah, it was great to hear from them, and like it was awesome. I mean, that's all I can even say. I'm like speechless. I'm like, it was awesome. Like
2 groups of pretty different guests, I would say, that were both equally interesting.
Oh, they were all amazing.
You know, obviously Amanda's been pretty successful writing her books and launching the Feminine Macabre and all that, and wish her well. And then obviously I can't wait to see this Spooky World documentary, especially since, you know, as they reminded everybody that listened last week, we're the official podcast partner of Spooky World the movie. So some news might break from time to time on this
I wonder when
show.
they're going to break some news that Mike's going to be in the documentary.
Oh, God. Could you imagine
that'd
a thing?
be pretty funny.
I can neither confirm nor deny any of that. So we'll have to see.
Mike would be a wreck for a week.
Yes. Gotta know. But, so with that being said, thank you to all of our prior guests.
Yes.
Hope you enjoyed April, halfway to Halloween month, which is a new holiday I am all about supporting. Fuck yeah. But, Andrew, you were saying something.
Is there a day for that? Is it a date? specific date for Halfway to Halloween?
I think it's just they pretty much consider the month of April to be
now there's
halfway to Halloween.
I just like what they're doing.
month.
They're making Halloween like 2 months now.
They're trying to invent holidays wherever they can.
Instead of
like-
Halloween being like a month long, now we get 2 months of Halloween.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Like what they're doing. It's like your half birthday.
kind of okay with it,
Which
to be
I've
honest
never
with
celebrated my half birthday. But
you. Yeah.
I should celebrate my half birthday.
I think you kind of usually do.
You just celebrate the entire 3 months around it, probably.
Yeah, that's correct.
So it's
yeah.
like your quarter year.
Well, now I'm like less than
Birthday.
1 month to my birthday right now,
Constantly
so I'm already
celebrating.
counting down. So.
Oh God, I know.
The birthday
Oh,
celebrations.
believe me,
may begin
and
early.
Kat will tell you on this show when it's her birthday or when it's close to her birthday,
Yes.
for sure.
We will never
Actually,
forget.
it's on a Tuesday. If
On
we
a
decide
Tuesday.
to podcast that day.
Well,
What
I have a
birthday
feeling you might
gift.
want to do something else other than podcast on your birthday, but I guess
Maybe.
we'll see.
Who knows?
It could be
Yeah.
your pick of the litter. You get to pick your podcast for
Right?
that night.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Maybe we could do
though.
Pan's Labyrinth that night.
Maybe.
No vetoes allowed.
Exactly. Whatever movie you
All
want.
right.
I think it's a good compromise. So, Andrew, you were saying something about stuff you've watched since we last talked about this. So,
Yeah,
go
because
ahead.
I don't think we've talked about this in a few weeks, and I'm sure
No.
there's more stuff that I've watched. But I watched Stepfather 2, which I don't think either of you guys have seen. Those amazing cinematic
haven't.
Have not.
movies. They're so good. You should check them out. It's basically about a... Oh, and I watched
Yeah, I would say
the
describe
remake.
it for
I watched
people that-
the remake of Stepfather 2. Not Stepfather. It wasn't the remake of Stepfather 2. It was the remake of Stepfather. I watched that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't want to confuse anybody.
Stepfather
it's
and-
basically
and as well.
this guy who finds himself a widowed woman with children, and he kind of slides into the family. She's not necessarily have to be widowed. She's divorced or whatever. In one case, I think she's widowed. In the family, she falls in love with him. It's always in a month. And then they get married. And then he's insane. So he ends up killing the entire family and then changing his identity, leaving, and doing it again. And they never can seem to catch him, which I don't think that would work nowadays.
Who's the guy that plays the stepfather again? I know you told me
What's
this.
his name?
I know what it is. He played John Locke in Lost.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't
we
know.
talked
this-
about
the
this the
actor's
other
name.
night.
He's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
good. He's very good.
Terry O'Quinn.
Terry O'Quinn.
That's
that
his
is
name.
correct.
Yeah, Terry O'Quinn.
Great
There you go.
watches. Very 80s. Just easy. The type of movies I like to watch.
Andrew movies.
Andrew movies. But a good movie, needless to say. So I watched that, and then I watched... What else did I watch? I watched Constantine the other night.
Oh, I love that movie.
The movie's awesome.
I
Ke-
think I
the
might
Keanu
have-
Reeves
yeah.
Constantine, obviously,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay.
Is there
No,
another one?
there was a TV series.
Oh, no. The Keanu
They're talking about
Reeves-
now. Remember we talked about this in the news a few weeks back? They're actually talking about maybe making a sequel to Constantine with Keanu Reeves.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
They should.
As long as
that's
Shia,
like a-
as
is
long
that-
as Shia LaBeouf
Is that
in
a
it.
comic
Shia
book
LaBeouf.
movie?
Yes, it is.
That is. Okay. I thought
John
it was.
Constantine is
Is a...
pretty famous character. He's essentially like the Doctor Strange of the DC universe. So he's like
okay.
a paranormal, not researcher, but like paranormal, crime fighter and
Yeah.
all that shit. He's like a wizard and he's awesome. John Constantine's
Great.
one of my favorite DC characters, aside from Batman and whatever else.
I see. I didn't know he was a...
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I
So there's
assumed it was a
there's
comic
actually
book.
like comics where he's in with Batman, like fighting like supernatural shit, and those are some of my favorites.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, they're actually talking. So there's a movie called Justice League Dark. It's a DC animated movie. It's on HBO Max. You can watch it with Batman and John Constantine, along with a bunch of other characters from DC fighting against like supernatural threats, and it's fucking awesome.
So...
They're talking about making a live action adaptation of it, directed by J.J. Abrams for HBO
Really?
Max. Yeah, so it's
HBO
awesome
Max?
stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have that. So
Yeah.
that's even
There
better.
you go.
You do? Yes, you do.
Speaking of something you enjoy, which is shared universes.
Mm-hmm.
So, John Wick, there's a movie called Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron.
Yes, we were gonna watch that. You remember that movie?
Yeah, we didn't.
We didn't.
No,
watch
I
it.
haven't
No,
seen
I
that
was
either.
like,
I've never heard of it. And then the recent movie that just came out with Bob Odenkirk,
Yes, nobody.
Nobody.
Yep.
I think it's all the same director, so he's talking about creating a shared universe where they're all in that same universe. I'm like, oh,
Interesting.
Interesting. I guess that's like the trendy thing now is just...
Shared universes,
Why
which
not?
which you hate.
I don't
You
hate
said
it.
you
I just
hate it.
don't know why we have to talk about it so much. Like, can't the universe just be? Does it need
universe?
to be discussed constantly? Like,
Mm-hmm.
this universe is
Shared with
cool.
someone
I like it.
Yeah.
Shared. Maybe we don't need to share as much.
Maybe you just don't like to share.
No, I hate sharing.
How about that?
Last thing I watched is I started watching the documentary on Hulu called Sasquatch.
Yes, let's talk about Sasquatch. Yes,
It's,
I didn't watch it.
I've only seen
I know,
the first
sorry.
episode.
told you. I asked you if you want to watch it. You said
And,
no.
I said no.
I like where it's going. It's a lot. It's not like everyone hears, oh, it's called Sasquatch. It's going to be about Sasquatch.
Well,
it's kind of about Sasquatch, but it's kind of not about Sasquatch.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, I mean, obviously, so it's called Sasquatch. It's about Sasquatch to a certain extent. But I'm 2 full episodes into it, so I have to just watch the last one. And
are there only 3 of them?
Only 3.
There's only 3.
Yeah.
So I'm a third of the way.
The guy, the journalist, the main guy, I like him. Eric Holtzhauer or something like that.
Holtz.
I actually read some of his articles because if you Google him...
Kitzmiller? No.
Kitzmiller, yeah. Everything that he's written is on his website, so you can actually read through some of the stuff. But he went undercover with like Nazi skinheads, like out on the West Coast, and he, did a bunch of undercover work. So that he kind of like immerses himself in his work, and the whole thing, as you know, is based on a story that he heard at a cabin on a weed farm in Northern California back in the early '90s. A guy apparently came running into the cabin and said that he saw 3 workers on a weed farm that had been ripped to shreds, literally body parts flown everywhere, and he claimed that they were killed by a Sasquatch. So it's this one guy's kind of search to kind of verify that story, but it's more so about like people that were growing weed in Northern California in the 90s when it was illegal to do so. So it's more of a true crime thing that's framed around Sasquatch, which I like. And again, I asked you. You said you didn't want to watch it. It's really fucking good.
You haven't finished it yet?
No, you have?
No, that's why I'm curious what happens at the end. I've only watched the 1 episode, so
I've watched 2.
Yeah,
so
there's only 3, so you're almost there.
I'm almost there.
They do a really good job because it's produced by the
Duplass brothers who directed Creep. Go listen to our Creep
So it's got
episode.
a great like dark vibe to it, which I really like. Mm-hmm. So it's really
But it's very much like about how the weed crop community got started in Northern California back in the hippies started doing it, and then all of a sudden when it got up to the 90s, the people it was not hippies anymore, it was people with AK-47s guarding their weed crops in the northern mountains of Northern California. It's insane. So it's actually it's pretty cool. I'm interested to see how it ends. But yeah, I'm all about Sasquatch.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool.
Maybe I'll give it a watch.
Check it out.
I mean, you should have started watching it with me.
Yeah, I
don't know why you didn't.
Right.
Hey, so I finally watched the Block Island Sound on Netflix.
Any good?
No. Nah, not so much. It was okay.
It
takes place in Rhode Island. I guess that's probably about the only thing I can say about it.
I'd probably like it if you hated it.
Yeah.
No?
Maybe. It's okay. It's worth watching. It's just kind of it doesn't really go anywhere. But one thing we can all talk about, or you and I can talk about, Kat.
Oh, well, that's not all of us.
No, well, me and you at least. 2 different people.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
So we've been watching more of Creepshow Season 2 on Shudder.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's the same format that it has been. It's like that comic book, Grim Reaper. What's his name? Crypt Keeper.
No. That's Tales from the Crypt.
It's not the Crypt Keeper. It's the...
what's his name?
Scary Face.
Fuck.
He looks like the Crypt Keeper, though. But he's
a
cartoon.
Yes, exactly.
The Creep.
The Creep.
Is he just the Creep? Are we overthinking this?
No, it's the Creep, yes. We were overthinking it for sure.
Yeah. No, it's the same kind of format.
It's essentially that guy, but it's called the Creep.
Yes.
Yeah. And by that guy, I'm pointing at the Spooky World poster behind Andrew right now, yes.
Yeah.
The original Spooky World logo that we talked about on our Spooky World episode. Go listen to it. Go ahead.
Yeah, they had a couple episodes with, vampires and aliens.
The vampire one was actually good. That was the most recent one we watched.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
So we've watched the first 3 episodes of this season. I think there's only 5, so we're over halfway through.
Yeah, there's the one with the astronaut with the.
Yeah, that one kind of stunk.
All right, but
that one wasn't that
what they were. So I'd say if you haven't started watching the Creepshow series, absolutely. What is it on? Shudder?
It's on Shudder. Yeah. So if you have Amazon Prime on your TV, you can subscribe to Shudder through Amazon Prime and watch it that way.
Yeah, I liked them. I thought they were entertaining.
The good thing about that show is that it's. Again, anthology. So it's 2 different stories per episode. So every episode is different. Every segment is different. So if you don't like one segment, you watch the next one.
Right. There's only 2 per episode.
Yeah, because the space one sucked. We both didn't like that. And then the next one was really good. Yeah, that was actually kind of... You laughed at that quite a bit. So
I did.
I thought it was good. Yeah.
I like horror stuff that kind of makes me laugh.
Yeah,
kind of like tonight's topic du jour.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that you found laughter in the movie we're going to talk about tonight.
But. I did. Well, Andrew was just saying that it's a
comedy.
More
just
there's a lot of things.
Cheese. Some corniness. But
We'll get
But
there.
you still laugh.
hey, so I guess that's kind of a perfect segue because for the news tonight, you guys, I got nothing.
Great.
So we can just
Woohoo!
skip it, and that
No
means
news
that we can.
is the best news.
That means that we can move on to tonight's topic. You guys ready for that? Topic du
Yes.
jour. Do you know what that is?
Ready to roll,
Yeah.
son?
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. All right, so that means that we are rolling on to tonight's movie, which is one that might look a little weird on a podcast feed or your podcast app for a channel that talks about horror movies. But I'm going to tell you why I think this movie works for us tonight. But of course, that movie is Mortal Kombat.
I think that's what's nice, though, about us. We're unique in that we're very open-minded as to what
Sure.
qualifies as horror.
I think so. I think we've covered a lot of different things. This will be a different one for us. Hocus Pocus was a different one for us.
It's seasonal, though. I
Nope,
mean, it's
I'm not
related-
saying in a bad way.
No,
I didn't mean it as a dig. I'm just bringing it up because Prisoners was the next one that I was going to say before Kat said that I was making fun of her, which I was not.
We discuss how malleable horror can be.
Of course.
Which I think is a good
It's
thing.
all about what you think is horror. That's really what we talk
Horror
about.
is,
We talk about a lot of
in
different
the
things.
eye of the beholder.
Well, you could say
the eye of
you
the
could
beholder.
easily argue that someone who doesn't like gory stuff
Yeah.
would not watch this movie.
Yeah.
Which a lot of gory stuff is
yeah.
related to horror.
Absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth. But so I guess before we kind of get into like our overall thoughts on the movies, I have to ask, because obviously I have a strong connection to Mortal Kombat, like from when I was growing up. Do you guys tell me about your experiences with Mortal Kombat? Did you ever play the games? Did you ever see the movies? Were you a fan? Were you not a fan? Kat, I'll start with you. Go ahead.
So, I remember Mortal Kombat. I mean, geez, what was it on regular Nintendo, right?
It was on Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis.
Okay.
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
Wow, look at you.
And arcades.
And arcades.
Yeah.
I
That was where it
remember
got
going-
the most popular.
I remember not having Mortal Kombat on my Super Nintendo, but I remember going to my friend's
I did.
house. And I think it was because my mom, like, wouldn't buy it for me or something. She'd be like, it's too gore, like, whatever. She'd make some rule, but I'd go over to my friend's house and I'd play, and I just remember playing and, like, frantically hitting all of the buttons.
Yep.
And just hoping that something
It's a
cool would
it's
happen.
a button masher game.
Yes, and, like, they'd be like, oh my god, how'd you do that? I'm like, I have no idea. But I just, like, killed you in, like, 2 blows. And then you'd remember what the sequence was after a while. And then they'd be like, stop doing that, stop doing that. And I was like,
Which they bring up in the movie, by the way, in one scene. I'll be interested to see if you guys picked up on it. But it was
Okay.
actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, these games were awesome, but they were they were button mashers in the sense that, like, Turtles in Time or the X-Men arcade game or the Simpsons arcade game or those types of games where like you're standing around a cabinet with 3 other people and you're just hitting buttons trying to fucking play a game and win. Like I feel like that's how these games were destined to be played, these fighting games like Street Fighter and more. I was never as much of a Street Fighter fan as I was Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was always my fighting game that I played. Played a little bit of Tekken, but Mortal Kombat was my fucking shit. And I think it was because it was so violent, so gory, so over the top, and it was so controversial back in the day when the games first launched. I mean,
Right.
these games were argued about in Congress. People thought they were too violent. They shouldn't be sold. Thank God, ultimately, that didn't happen. And here we are, fucking over 20 years later.
Did you know the movesets?
I did not. I was never good at the video games, but I liked playing them. I was never like an ace. Like, I'd be lucky if I knew, like, 2 moves per character. Like, I always played as, like, Raiden or Liu Kang.
But
Liu
you
Kang,
knew
I could do the
a couple
shadow
moves.
kick and the fireball, and then
So you knew
Raiden,
moves.
I could do the move, the flying move, and the lightning strike.
Right, you knew. So yes, you knew the moves.
That's about it, though. Scorpion was
But that's more
back.
moves than I know.
Okay, so I guess I know
Yes,
more than you.
you knew the
Scorpion
moves.
was back, forward. That was the get over here with the thing out of his wrist, and then Sub-Zero had a bunch of different moves that were pretty easy, but I don't remember those because I never really played a Sub-Zero. I was a Scorpion guy myself. Where were we? Jesus Christ,
Talking about movesets.
Andrew. So, were you a fan of Mortal Kombat at all? Did you like it? Were you a fan? Not a fan?
Back in the
Ever
day?
play it? Yeah, back in the day.
I didn't really get the opportunity to play it that much. I don't think we were allowed to have it because parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I never saw the original movies because same thing. Also, I've seen like clips of them and I'm like, this looks like the cheesiest made-for-TV movie I've ever seen. Do I like playing Mortal Kombat? Yeah, I like those types of games. But I never, remembered, I knew, who Sub-Zero and Scorpion were and Raiden and, all the main characters.
Did you play the new one?
I may have played the new one at Craig's house, but...
That's where I've played the new ones at Craig's,
that's where it was.
And I tried to get Craig to come on tonight, but he couldn't. He had prior commitment, so that's too bad. Interesting to hear both you guys say that, because I personally have a huge nostalgia for the entire Mortal Kombat franchise, from the video games to the earlier movies to pretty much everything, but specifically for the original movie, which was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who went on to direct all the Resident Evil movies and all that shit. It was released back in 1995, which, my God, does that make me feel old. I was 9 years old when that movie came out, and now I'm, older than that.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie, and I've never even
Ever?
I don't think I ever knew that was out. I must have been. I was 8. If you were 9, I'm a year younger than you. So
yeah. I mean, the Mortal Kombat song. Hello. Fuck
I know
yeah.
the
Are you
song.
kidding me?
Of course, I know the song.
Test Your Might. Mortal Kombat.
Should be on in every rave.
Was that on Guitar Hero at all?
I don't think so.
No, never.
I didn't know if it was a song.
That's not even. There's no guitar in that song.
So, fun fact about
I mean,
that: it's
you
just
could
all
make it.
it's all synthesizers. Do you guys know the name of that song? And also, can you name who did that song?
Is it called Fatality?
Nope.
I don't know.
What's it called?
It's called Techno Syndrome
That
by
makes
the
sense.
by the Immortals.
It was
Not
on
even
Mortal
called
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat or
I
anything.
mean, it was on Guitar Hero.
It was?
Yes.
Wow,
yeah.
that's so fucking weird.
Which one?
It says Guitar Hero 3.
Okay, fair enough. Well, but yeah, that song's awesome. The movies are awesome. So I have a nostalgic tie there. But I also remember I remember renting and owning the original game on Sega. Playing it in arcades. All the controversy that surrounded it, all the violence in the games. There's actually a great episode of a show on Netflix called High Score that details the rise of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, kind of side by side. That show's awesome, and that episode was really, really, really good. But yeah, like I mentioned, it might seem a little bit weird for us to cover Mortal Kombat, but if you really take a second and think about it, it makes a lot of sense. I feel like a lot of fans of the horror genre,
As
rest
Alex,
in peace, Alex
the
Trebek.
late Alex Trebek would say.
Fans of the horror genre have always been drawn to Mortal Kombat for a number of reasons. So obviously, there's a ton of blood, ton of gore. There are supernatural elements to most of the games and stories. There's some scary-looking characters like Goro, Baraka, Reptile, and even in the more recent games, like in the videos that we were watching while we were eating dinner, prepping for this episode, they've added a ton of playable characters from famous horror movies as downloadable content in the more recent games.
Which is cool.
Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Predator, Alien, Leatherface, Spawn, Terminator, RoboCop, I mean, come on.
They have a Joker, the Terminator.
They're clearly catering to horror fans, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, all right. Aside from the franchise, for this movie, I've been pretty excited for a little while because I saw that they brought James Wan on as the producer. He was the one, he's from The Conjuring, Insidious, all those movies. The Saw movies, Aquaman, he did all of those. Yeah, I just think with all that being said, I think they did a good job with this movie. I guess it's a roundabout way of me saying that I liked it. I really liked it. There are parts that are way better than others, but if you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, you're going to appreciate everything I think that's in this movie. A whole hell of a lot. And the fight scenes are awesome. There's a ton of blood, ton of gore. The fatalities are awesome, and there's some not-so-subtle nods to the games, like some Easter eggs if you like that shit.
Yep.
But it's not perfect. I don't think it's perfect by any way, shape, or form. Some of the characters are...
nitpicks.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I'll tell you one thing. It's a lot better than most video game movies.
Yeah. This might be the
95%.
best video game movie.
Best video game movie.
Did they have a movie about Assassin's Creed? Because I'd be
They
interested.
did. It was apparently
It's
terrible. Never saw it. Michael Fassbender was in it.
Fassbender.
I'm trying to think. What about Rampage with the
Rampage was actually supposed to be really good.
Wasn't? I haven't seen that. Yeah. I just thought it was funny that was they made a movie based on the game Rampage. Because I was like, how loose?
Giant monsters destroying buildings. But yeah, like I was saying, this movie's not perfect. I mean, I think the characters are kind of paper thin. Writing is shoddy. Even though it's a little long, It's almost 2 hours long. It kind of feels like it drags at certain points when
little
there's
bit.
no
Yeah.
fights.
Yeah.
Of course.
But I mean, I walked away happy that I watched this. It's a Mortal Kombat movie. There's tons of fights. There's tons of gore. But I do have one big nitpick that we'll talk about later on. So, yeah, I don't know. Andrew, I'll start with you. You watched this last night. What did you think of this movie?
I thought it was exactly what I was expecting to watch, but it was very entertaining from start to finish. Like there was really no like downtime, and that's what you don't need.
See, I thought there was a little. I thought some parts of it dragged. Yeah, a little
Yeah,
bit. But
maybe
go
it
ahead.
was-
Go ahead. I'll
I
talk
thought
about
for
after.
what those movies usually end up being is a lot of just like dragging on. But I mean, it was 2 hours, which seems a tad long.
It seemed
Right.
long when you kind of like
when you
were
really
talking
think about it.
yeah.
But the fight scenes were long. There was a lot. Actually, I mean, there was a lot of weird stuff that happened that you're just like.
I mean, the fight scenes were the best parts of the movie
Well, obviously,
by
that was-
far,
that's
which
what
is
made
how
the
this
movie
movie
so much.
should be.
Yeah, that's a.
But I feel like
called Mortal
yeah. See,
Kombat.
I won't talk about it now. We'll talk about it later with nitpicks and stuff. My problems with the movie because I don't want to sound negative because I feel like I'm sounding negative right now, and I really like this movie. But yeah, what else?
No huge nitpicks. I mean, you feel like you're watching a video game, which is good because it's one of those movies that I'll give it credit for that it didn't try too hard not to be a video game movie. It just kind of went with it. It was like, this is a video game movie.
Right,
Which I
yeah.
think was kind of a plus for it because it didn't take itself too seriously, which is nice.
I have another good video game movie, by the way.
Well, there's a couple.
Silent Hill was
That
a
movie
phenomenal.
sucks.
Oh, I love Silent Hill. Silent Hill's good.
I like Silent Hill.
I thought it should have been so much better. Max Payne was...
Oh God, you douche
I'm
with
joking.
Wahlberg. Oh yuck.
The first Resident Evil wasn't bad.
Yeah, that one was pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'm trying to think of video game movies, though.
Yeah, I just thought of that one. It just popped.
Is
in my
Draft Day with Kevin Costner, is that a video game movie?
Head. I don't think so.
No, I was just making that up. It's like playing NFL coach. Remember
gonna
that?
make that
They made one game.
Yeah.
And it was NFL coach where you were the coach of the team. It's like, how stupid of a game is this?
Yeah, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. Kat, anything else you want to add about the movie? What did?
I mean, I liked it. I was looking forward to watching it. I mean, I played the game as a kid. I liked how the characters in this movie kind of developed. Like, I like how they took this as like you said, a video game movie, but it's also a little bit of like a drama. Like you said before, it's like a drama because they make you want to root for certain people. And even when they start with Scorpion in the beginning and like Sub-Zero freezes his family and he's like has this heartbreaking moment of seeing his wife and kid like frozen to death, like you feel his pain and you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I feel and there's like a couple of other things like as everything goes on, like, you know, when Jax loses his arms and stuff and you're like, and then Sonya's like, oh, Jax, we went through so much together. Like you kind of have this kind of heart-wrending pieces.
Yeah,
in this
so you can
that
see
are
where it was
kind
like
of-
trying to be a drama. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I
so-
never found it heart-wrenching.
I mean, there were parts.
Yeah, heart-wrenching's a
that were-
little strong.
And, well,
That
no,
Mortal Kombat
I
movie
mean,
was so heart-wrenching.
No, it kind of
Please.
like tugged at your, you know, you
Let's not
felt, it
get
made you feel
ridiculous
like,
here.
oh, like, you know, like tugged on your heart.
No, it didn't at
Yeah,
all.
it did,
It's
yes.
Mortal Kombat. There was
I
no
would
tugging
call
on my
that them
heartstrings.
giving you a slight bit of a hint of emotion before they launched into another
And
fight
like,
scene.
you know, like the family's in the house and the baby they put under the floor, like that whole like beginning. It's almost as if it's a Disney movie and like Bambi's mom gets killed in the first 10 seconds. Like you're just like, oh my god.
The
Like,
only
can't
part I
believe
think
that
you
just
could
happened.
argue was supposed to be emotional was the beginning with Scorpion.
Yeah,
Right.
which is
that
needs
one
to
part.
be. It's like the beginning
Yeah.
of Wolverine.
Yeah.
The movie's awesome.
Right.
Logan, you mean?
Yeah, Logan. That's the
Actually, I have a fact about Logan related to this movie coming up. How about that? Wow.
It's like
Wow.
Yeah, but I would watch it. I would actually watch it again because I feel like
would
when I
too.
watched
I love
it, I
this
was
movie.
kind of casually watching it, and then we were like, oh, we should podcast about it. I'm like, oh yeah, probably should have like watched it a little bit differently, but
Watched
in
a
the
little
same
harder.
sense, watched a little harder, but yeah, no, I'd watch it again anyway. I thought it was an entertaining movie. Like Andrew said, it's one of those movies that just there's always action. Like you're not really. I didn't really find there were too many lulls for the most part.
Okay.
Unless I mean,
That's
I'm
because she was
thinking-
caught up in the heart-wrenching.
Yeah, the
love
heart-wrenching
story.
I
drama.
mean, yeah,
Yeah.
because there was like pieces.
The
that
Mortal
kinda took a
Mortal
break.
Kombat, The Notebook. It's like this, that's
no,
part
it's
2.
not. No.
All right,
But
question.
yeah.
Go ahead.
that's fine.
Question.
Sorry, didn't mean to make fun of you.
Was Mortal Kombat better or worse than Godzilla vs. Kong?
Better.
Better.
I agree. 100% better. I think
Yeah.
it's not even close. This movie was awesome.
Well, because
This
Godzilla
movie met
versus-
my expectations. The other movie didn't.
I know you hated Godzilla vs. Kong. So.
No, I didn't.
That's the only other 2021 horror movie that we've seen.
Well, yeah, 'cause
And
there's
neither one of
many.
those are actual.
There's
horror
on-demand
movies.
shit that we haven't watched. I want to watch Willy's Wonderland with Nicolas Cage, but I haven't watched it yet.
I want to watch Willy
Willy's
Wonka.
Wonderland.
Willy Wonka. Mike, I don't want to know what the pornos you watch.
I was like, here comes a Brazzers
It's a movie.
reference.
No, it's a movie about Nicolas Cage fighting animatronic monsters at a Chuck E. Cheese.
That sounds pretty
It
awesome.
actually does sound pretty awesome. Yeah.
I would probably watch that.
Yeah.
Just to see
Nick
Nicolas
Cage
Cage
fighting up
choke-
all the willies.
choke out like those Big Bertha. Remember those at the arcades?
Yes,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you throw all the balls
That
in her
you'd
mouth.
shoot him at. It's like boom, boom, boom.
You didn't shoot him. You threw the Big Bertha one. She was like, woo.
Yeah, didn't Big Bertha you threw the balls?
Oh,
like
I'm thinking of the
Yeah,
other.
no.
Big Bertha, you threw the ball.
In her
I'm thinking of the other
face.
one where it was like a turret and you just shot like the clown heads.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know that one.
It was.
too.
I was
Yeah.
thinking, but Big Bertha, yeah, that was the one where you threw.
Okay,
I don't know if
gotcha.
that even exists.
I
Was
thought
that,
it was in her mouth.
Didn't-
She was fat. And
did they used to have that
I
at?
thought it was too. I thought it was her mouth.
Did they used
too.
to have that at Bonkers?
Yes, yes, they did.
They did have
Yes,
that
they
at Bonkers,
did.
where that girl got. Speaking of horror, where that girl got her head scalped by the roller coaster. There.
Oh my god!
Did you ever hear about that story? That's why it shut
Nope.
down.
Not bonkers. Bonkers.
She got like her head. She got scalped on one of the rides at Bonkers.
What's
What
bonkers?
ride? No, it's like a big.
It was
like
an
a
awesome
big
TV show on Nickelodeon. No,
No, it's like a big arcade.
it was like a giant arcade, and they had a little roller coaster.
Where?
In there.
No, they
in,
did not.
in Weymouth at the. What was the name of that?
Oh,
mall?
I've probably
Roller
been there. I
coaster?
just didn't know the name.
Yeah, and they had a big.
In
birthday.
Weymouth?
Weymouth. It was used to be a mall. It was a. What? I'll find out.
Well,
For all
I
those
don't
people
remember
wondering
there
where
being-
Bonkers was, and not the cartoon, which
I think
was
I
awesome.
went to a different Bonkers. I think there was one in like Norwood or something. There was.
I remember
there
going
was
to
another
kid. I
one.
remember going to Kid Sports in Weymouth. That was in Weymouth.
Kid Sports. I don't know Kid Sports, but. Anyways, regardless, we can move on from Big
Yeah,
Bertha.
Bonkers. Oh, that's a different one.
We don't need to keep talking about Big Bertha and shoving balls down her mouth.
I think there's more than one Bonkers, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh my God, there was one on the North Shore too. Because I remember
Great
driving
name
by
for
it
a
on
place,
Route 1.
Bonkers Funhouse.
Yeah, and it was just all games. Like it was kind of like a Dave and Buster's, but like for little kids, not for like adults. They didn't like serve booze. It was like a bigger Chuck E. Cheese.
All right, you guys want to hear some quick facts about Mortal Kombat?
Sure. You want to tell me anyway?
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
I'm
wanna
going to
hear
tell
it
you
or not.
anyway. So it's you kind of have to listen. You
Okay.
have to listen. So this movie obviously was a reboot of the Mortal Kombat franchise that started back in 1995 with Mortal Kombat. You know, fair enough. It was followed up by Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is one of the worst movie sequels ever made, with probably the worst CGI ever captured.
Yeah, that's
Historically bad sequel. Oh my god, terrible. But for this particular movie, you know, I mentioned this before, but what caught my eye about it was that James Wan was brought on to produce this back in 2015, and he is famous for directing or producing movies like Saw, The Conjuring, Insidious, Aquaman, and many, many others. So generally when he signs up for something, you know it's going to be quality. And then they brought on director Simon McQuoid back in 2016. So 2015, this movie it was in development since before 2015, but they brought on James Wan 2015, brought on the director in 2016. So this movie's been in development for
a while.
almost a long time. A long time. The first actor they brought on board was Joe Taslim, who played Baihan and Sub-Zero.
Cool.
And he's one of the most talented martial artists in the world. He gained fame for his role in the awesome fucking 2011 movie The Raid. Have either of you guys seen The Raid?
No.
It's really good. He's in both those Raid movies. They're awesome martial arts movies. So fucking good. But yeah, he's one of the most famous martial artists in the world. And again, he was the first actor chosen. All the actors that are in this movie have a background in martial arts, but he is by far the most talented. So he actually, at points, they had to ask him to slow down his moves because he was so far ahead of everybody else that he was doing fight scenes with.
Wow.
That they couldn't keep up with him.
Fitting that he played Sub-Zero.
I know.
Right.
And yeah, I think that's absolutely true because Sub-Zero is probably the coolest character in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's my MVP, but he's pretty fucking awesome. in this movie, which I'm sure we'll talk more about that, in the coming minutes. So the movie, after being in production, pre-development for many years, began production in Southern Australia back in 2019. And at that point, it had been guaranteed that it was going to be an R rating, which is the way a Mortal Kombat movie should be. I mean, you've seen the clips in the video games, right? This shouldn't be a PG-13 movie, right? But with that being said, it was actually revealed in an interview last week, as of this recording, that they had to actually cut some shit out so it didn't get an NC-17 rating.
That doesn't surprise me.
Apparently they were close, and they were requested to cut some shit out. So I wonder what that was.
I can only imagine what they cut out.
I know.
Okay, so NC-17 versus R. So you're supposed to be 18 to get into an R-rated movie,
With
correct?
a chaperone.
Without a chaperone.
No, 17. 17 with a chaperone, yeah.
Okay.
Or it's suggested.
So what's NC-17?
NC-17 is it's required that you have to be over a certain age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Am I an idiot for not understanding the difference between the two of these?
No, I don't think you're an idiot.
Honestly, so if you're NC-17 versus R, isn't that honestly the same thing?
The difference is they don't enforce R-rated movies; they enforce NC-17.
Yeah,
it's like
good point.
I'm trying to see what you could compare that to.
I'm just like it doesn't make any sense. It sounds like the exact same thing, but they're just different letters.
Well, they are different letters.
Right, that's
we'll give
all
you that.
though.
It's just no. I mean,
they are definitely different.
That's all.
letters.
It's different letters. So I'm like, you're supposed to be 17 if you see NC-17. You're supposed to be 17 if you see a rated R. So what is the difference here? Am I speaking out of my ass?
Wait. Is the difference? Is the difference where you can't get into it with a chaperone? Is that the difference? Even if you have someone over 18.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes,
you have to be over a certain age.
You have to, even if you have
and
a
also
chaperone, it doesn't matter.
NC-17 movies can't get major theater-wide releases either.
Okay.
So you can't you couldn't go to a Showcase Cinemas and see an NC-17
Which is
movie.
stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid.
Why? Right.
There's enough adults that want to go see a movie.
Ask the government. I don't know. You tell me.
So it's not released in theaters?
No.
Oh.
NC-17 because of the specific audience that it caters
Are you
to.
sure?
I'm positive.
Okay.
Positive.
I don't know.
Pretty sure it's right.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of an NC-17 movie being... How many NC-17... Yeah, because you wouldn't have heard.
I mean, what?
I feel like when I was
Showgirls?
younger, I was carded to go see a rated R movie, though.
Right,
because
back
you didn't
in the
have
day,
a chaperone.
but not now. Yeah.
Because you didn't have a chaperone.
Okay.
Right, if you're 12, your parent can bring you in to see an R-rated movie,
If
no
you're
problem.
12, your parent can't
If
bring
you're
you to see
walking
that
in on
movie.
your own as a 12-year-old, you get carded. Because you have to be 17.
But even if your parent is there with you to see an NC-17 movie, you can't go in.
Correct.
Doesn't matter that your parent's there.
Okay.
Correct.
That's the
All
difference.
Correct.
Okay.
We figured it out.
And you can't.
I'm just gonna let it
you
lie.
can't wide release an NC-17 movie. All right. So anyway,
I'm just gonna let it lie.
Andrew, we were talking about Logan before, the Wolverine movie, which is
yes.
fucking fantastic, right? So when the Red Band trailer for Mortal Kombat was released a few months back, okay, it surpassed over 116 million views in the first week since it was published, beating out Logan and Deadpool 2 for the most widely seen Red Band trailer of all time.
Wow.
Mortal Kombat.
That's crazy.
Mortal Kombat. So
it makes
safe to
sense.
say
I think it
that
makes
there is a huge appetite for this movie. Understandably so.
Yum yum.
Yeah. Yum, yum. Yum, yum, indeed. Yum, yum, indeed.
Appetite for destruction, so to speak.
Anything else? You guys
for
got
gore
anything else
and
before we move on here?
I don't think so.
Nope.
Okay. Well, before we jump into categories, just a reminder that tonight's show is brought to you by Bruche. Bruche is an electric toothbrush that will change the way you think about brushing your teeth. With powerful sonic technology and ultra-gentle bristles, Bruche redefines what it means to have super clean teeth. It's like that feeling when you just leave the dentist, a fresh, whole mouth clean, every single day. Our listeners, that would be listeners of America's Hometown Horror, get 15% off their total purchase with code POD15. That's POD15. Follow the link in the show notes and enter the code POD15, that's POD15, to get your exclusive discount and upgrade your oral care routine. All right, so that means that we are on to our categories, and I think we could move through at least a couple of these pretty quickly. The first one would be, is this movie scary? And to that I say, no.
Can I say one thing?
Sure can. Say many things.
Would you say this movie's scary? I wouldn't say this movie's scary, but I would say possibly that it's rather heart-wrenching.
You're such an asshole.
It's heart-wrenching. It's
is
not
rather-
scary, it's
Such an
heart-wrenching.
It is rather heart-wrenching, isn't it?
No, it's
It
not
sure
scary.
is. No, not scary at all. Kat?
I mean, there's parts.
I mean, no.
No.
I mean, no. I mean, no.
Were you ever scared in this movie? When he was sucking out his soul?
Was I on?
Your soul!
Okay.
Your soul is mine.
Scared, like I would not have nightmares from it, but
I would hope not.
on the edge of my seat. So then I guess more of like a thriller, suspenseful thing. Maybe.
Yes, not scared.
Sometimes I was a little bit like.
Oh, you mean
I had
like
a little
lift
bit
your
of
head from the
anxiety.
pillow, kind of like, oh, what's going on?
I had a little bit of
I do.
anxiety sometimes. Yeah, I would say that. Scary though, like, am I gonna have nightmares of any of those people?
You probably are.
No.
The girl, what's her name?
However,
I mean, Goro and Reptile are scary-looking characters.
What's the chick
sure.
with the teeth?
Melina?
yes,
she's-
and also, well, that's a nitpick. Just put a pin in that
Cushion.
whatever.
Put a pin in Melina?
No,
What are
I'm
you
just
saying?
saying, like, just
In the
bookmark
scary stuff?
that for a second because
In
I would-
Reptile? Goro? Which
she,
one?
She may be one of my nitpicks, but
Yeah, that's cool. Is your phone going off in the podcast? Sweet.
I heard yours earlier.
I was gonna say yours did too.
And I'm just busting
That was
balls.
from me.
So no, I don't think this is scary. I was just thinking, I was like, is anyone like gonna really come at me at night? Like, no, I don't think any of those people were really that scary.
Good. So, yes, not scary.
No, not scary.
Heart-wrenching, yes.
So we'll just move home.
And sad and dramatic and
All right, folks.
It's like
gory.
a soap opera.
Favorite scene? I have many. Kat, yours.
Actually, to go back on the prior thought though, so you could have a nightmare about some of the ways that they kill people though, especially like some of the gorier things.
I think you could literally have a nightmare about anything. That's not the point.
But after seeing
Is
that,
it scary?
No.
No.
All right. Okay.
If you're 8,
Yeah,
that's
it's
Sorry.
not scary.
Even if
Moving
you're 8,
on.
it's not scary.
What was the question again?
What was your
Sorry.
favorite scene in the movie?
When Scorpion comes back from the dead
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
and he is in that cage thing and he spits out his chain,
Knife on a rope, chain, whatever you
chain,
call it.
and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, "Get over here!"
Yeah.
Because that was like something that you feel like you were waiting like for the entire movie to see. Like when you see that, you're like, "Yes!" Like that totally brings you back and like you were waiting for
It's like,
that.
oh, he said the thing from the game. Yes.
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 Yeah.
I know the feeling.
I think honestly, whenever they said
I also
something,
nerded out a bit.
whenever
yes.
they said something from the game, you're like, haha, yeah.
They said,
Like
they said a lot of things from the game.
I know, which it was awesome to have those references. So yeah, that was probably my favorite scene though.
Flawless victory.
Yes.
Test your might.
Yeah, that was
Fatality.
great.
Your soul is mine.
Flawless victory.
What about
All
you,
right.
Mike? What was your favorite scene?
Oh, I think Andrew should go first.
Okay, Andrew, what was your favorite scene?
I guess it was kind of because I mean, I don't really want to lump any of the fight scenes into it because all the fight scenes are awesome. But my favorite scene was when Kano was fighting the reptile.
Yeah, Reptile. That was
But I like how
awesome.
they called him reptilian.
The reptilian.
Release the reptilians. I was like, yes, we're getting into Hollow Earth theory. No, but and he rips out his heart, and he goes, Kano wins.
Fucking A beauty.
Fucking Kano.
Just as a side note about the game,
More on Kano.
I used to hate that there was Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Reptile.
Why? Because they were all the same.
Because they were all the same guy.
Yellow,
they all
blue,
looked
and
the
green.
same, and it
Because
drove
they had
me
to
bananas.
do what they had to. They
Oh, yeah.
were making a video game in 1990.
I know.
Whenever. It was
No,
probably difficult.
I know, but it was infuriating when you were going to pick someone, and then I was like, I don't want to be any of these guys. They all look the same.
Yeah, you want to be someone cool looking.
Right.
We all
want
look,
something
we
different.
all look like Sub-Zero right now.
I
I know.
know.
Well, we took that
I
picture.
know.
Throw your
Oh, my
mask
God.
on and your hoodie, and you're good to go.
I know.
All right, so you like Kano ripping out Reptile's heart.
That was kind of cool.
Pretty good. So I also I had a few things written down, but I had everything with Kano because Kano was awesome. He was the best character in the fucking movie.
He was ridiculous.
He was hilarious, and him ripping Reptile's heart out was awesome. And then also when he was fighting Liu Kang in the fighting pit, and he kept getting tripped. He got tripped like 3 times in a row, like just like people used to do to people in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like that was the joke being made there. If you're a fan of the games, like you picked up on that.
You're like, stop.
Yeah, and then he does like the game jump for a second, and he comes back down, and then he gets tripped again. So funny. So that was awesome. But honestly, the best parts of this movie, anything involving Scorpion and Sub-Zero, I think are the best parts of the movie.
Well, because they're rivaling each other the entire time.
Of course. Like the first scenes of the movie with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and then, Sub-Zero attacking Cole and his family when they're at that restaurant, and all of a sudden it's snowing.
Right.
And then you see him, like, appear, and he turns all the snow into ice, and he, like, shoots it at everything. That was fucking sweet.
They could literally have made a movie just based off Scorpion and...
Well, I think they might. Which I have more on that.
So this
also.
wasn't about Scorpion and Sub-Zero?
No, I mean, like,
was.
just... It could be about, like, their separate clans or whatever, and their...
It seems like there's a lot of history
It
behind
could be like
it
takes place in, like, the 1600s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But Sub-Zero also fighting Jax and then freezing and breaking his arms off was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then that final fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero was awesome too. When, they're fighting and he does the Scorpion does the get over here thing, and then, and then Sub-Zero stabs him, and he uses his blood to form like an ice dagger, and then stabs him with that, and that was everything with those two characters was great. I loved it.
Why did Raiden help Scorpion? Like, aren't they supposed to be not on the same side? That's what kind of confused me. I was like, why did he come down and rescue the baby to help Scorpion to fight Sub-Zero?
Well, in this version, Scorpion is a good guy. In previous versions, he had been a bad guy for a lot of it, but they started like turning his character into a hero, like in like newer versions of the game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so. Yeah, all right. So time to talk cast. You guys ready to talk some cast? Talk cast.
Sure.
Jack talk cast very well. Andrew, do you have any beefs with the cast? Anyone that you particularly liked? Anything you want to comment at all about the casting or people that were in this movie?
Don't remember his name in the movie. The Soul Sucker. What's his name?
I don't know his name either. The guy from The Dark Knight.
Yeah, the fact that he was...
I'll tell you who it is. Hold on one second.
No, like in Mortal Kombat, like the actual...
Oh, Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung was played by the same guy that played the accountant from The Dark Knight movie with the Batman movies, and I just couldn't get past that because he was like, it was like two completely
I am very good
different,
with calculations.
Yeah, it was two completely different characters, but I've only ever seen him in that one movie, and I could only recognize him as that guy, and I'm like, there's no way that this guy is a badass.
Yeah,
Stop it. But that's my only complaint with the...
That is him. His name is Chin Han. Chin Han, yes, and he is known for The Dark Knight and also Mortal Kombat.
So that's pretty much it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I wasn't mistaken in...
movies that we've seen, so.
Oh. Well, that's all that matters.
He's been in a bunch of other shit, but...
Sure. That's my only nitpick with the casting, but that's just because I'm an idiot, and
Wait, so are we doing nitpicks?
Yeah, I was
cast
just saying,
replacements?
cast replacements are alternatives right now, or anything about the cast at all. Do you have anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, what's her face? The one that I just said bookmark it. The girl that didn't look anything like her character in...
Oh, Melina.
Mm-hmm. She looked nothing like... She was like this belly dancing, like, pink wearing, like... woman in the game, and she's now this like I know that her
talking about the one with the sharp teeth, the blood all over her face, and she had the size.
Yeah, I was like, she looks like a zombie. She doesn't look like anything like she was supposed to look in the game. Am I alone here?
I think she looked like what she was looking like in the games. I don't think it was like so far off. I don't think it was like a huge...
In the original game?
Well, in the original game, they all don't look really like anything.
I mean, they resemble them at least.
They also had terrible the graphics were cool.
I know, but you kind of follow.
I think they based most of the character designs for this particular movie off some of the more recent Mortal Kombat.
Right,
games.
I know.
I would have done the same.
Same, yeah, because they're very cinematic and like the graphics are really good, so I can see that.
Yeah, nitpicking. Cast replacements. The only thing I would say is that I didn't really like her character because I was really confused trying to figure out like who she was. Like it was, I didn't recognize her like immediately and be like, oh, that's I forget her
Melina.
name. Melina.
Oh, I didn't recognize most of them, but I didn't care. Like, why does it matter? If
Right,
I
but I
recognize
wish
them? It's a
I
movie.
wanted to like know them so that I
That's-
could follow
that's a
their
good-
story.
What you
Like,
said about that's a good thing about this movie, right? Because I feel like this is not the type of movie where you need to know every character's name to have a good time.
Because it's a video
Right?
game movie.
Yes.
And it's not even a video game movie with any sort of a backstory, like, for the most part. Like, if you go based off of just the game itself. Like, this movie was about a championship between the two fighting each other,
Right.
which is basically just the video game.
which didn't even happen in this movie.
Exactly, and that's why. So
Yeah,
that
they
was
just-
We're gonna get to
they
that.
just kind of
We're gonna
fought
get to
and
that.
just
wait.
killed
But
each other.
one of my nitpicks, I won't get like too far into it, was that like at the beginning of the movie, I kept saying to Mike, I'm like, wait, so what the hell is going on here? What did all those things say? Like, I don't understand what the concept is here because like,
Well-
I was just confused. I was
Yup,
like,
that's-
All the rage in Hollywood these days are origin stories, right?
right. Yeah.
So this was an origin story on film for Mortal Kombat. There was no tournament in this movie, which Mortal Kombat is a tournament that gets fought between humans and people
Well,
from
to argue
Outworld.
that. They did have tournaments separately because they had like Scorpio versus.
But they didn't have the official tournament, is what I'm saying.
No.
It was just kind of a, let's fight these
But they
guys.
Training and
fought-
fighting, yeah.
A lot of them fought in like arena-like settings,
Right.
and like
Did
in the
make it-
cage.
Yeah, they
in
did
the
it in a
arena.
way that it wasn't just like a flat-out tournament.
Well, the whole thing was
Right.
because Shang Tsung was trying to cheat because he'd won 9 tournaments in a row.
Right.
And he wanted to basically
Exactly.
cheat to win the 10th in a row, because at that point, if he wins the 10th, he controls Earth and every person on Earth.
Right.
So he was trying to cheat to sway that tournament in his favor,
Right. Right. I
which
agree.
is, what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
All right, so good stuff. Good stuff. No, off topic is fine. But back to cast stuff. I mean, I think it's safe to say in this movie, right? The characters are pretty thinly written. I mean, but it's a goddamn Mortal Kombat movie, for Christ's sake, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I didn't hate any characters.
All the fight scenes were excellent. I don't think there was a bad one.
Sasha could have maybe been Charlize Theron.
Sasha?
Yeah.
Who's Sasha?
Sasha Blade.
Oh, Sonya Blade.
Sonya Blade.
Sonya
Sorry.
Sonya Blade. No, it's okay.
Sasha Baron Cohen.
Sasha Blade. Sasha
I'm
Blade.
like Sasha Blade. No, Sonya Blade.
My one nitpick, or my one cast replacement, excuse me, not a nitpick because I have one. The voice on Cabal,
Was it the?
What was up with
Was
that?
he the Mandalorian?
he looked like the Mandalorian.
No, he
yeah.
sounded like.
No,
the
it was not
Mandalorian.
him. You
I
know
know,
what
but
it
I'm
was?
saying it was like I was like, why does this guy sound just?
He sounded
He
just like a
sounded like
regular
somebody-
American guy, like a guy that was like in Outworld, like as a servant of Shang Tsung, being like, "Yo, what's up, guy? What's going on?"
Right.
Like, "Hey, what's up?" Did you notice that?
I
Like,
did notice that.
That was
yeah.
the weirdest fucking thing.
Well, I didn't understand because I was like, "Who?"
His
is
voice,
that?
like he sounded like the guy you'd see down the street, like, "Yo, what's up, bro? What's going on? Like, what's
Didn't
going
change
on?"
his voice, nothing. Just
No, nothing. And like he
He
was
shoulda
like,
had, like, a
he was the one like
hood
talking to
system,
Kano, like, "Hey, bro, like, you know, like if you want to come over to the dark side, it'll be like good reward for you,
Right,
bro." Like,
right.
you know, like that dude. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
It was so fucking weird. It seemed incredibly out of place. It was like almost laughable. Not almost laughable. I think I laughed a few times.
oh yeah.
So that was weird,
I thought
right?
Kano with the Australian accent was a little weird too.
I thought that was perfect.
Kano's Australian.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
In the original game, he's supposed to be Japanese, but in the first movie, the actor that played him did him as an Australian
Oh,
character,
okay, well,
and
then
that
I-
became so famous that that's how he's been portrayed in the
Okay.
games ever since. From
Then
Australia.
never mind. I guess
Kano
I
wins.
I didn't watch
Kano
that.
wins.
Yeah.
Fucking A, alright, baby.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Fair enough. Yeah. So just the spaghetti monster.
Yeah, so
man.
that was fucking weird. And you know who played him? You know who did the voice?
who?
Guy named Damon Harriman. He's Australian. He played Charles Manson. Not
Oh.
once, but twice.
Mindhunter?
Mindhunter
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Really?
Both.
Interesting. Very
He
interesting.
played Cabal,
He played Cabal.
and he
the
talks
voice.
like that. That's
Yeah.
so weird.
Have I already
Well, he's
asked you-
Australian, so he did some sort of weird American accent that was probably, what the director wanted. So it was kind of weird, right?
Have
Super
I already
strange.
asked you if you watched Once Upon a Time in
I have
Hollywood?
not seen that movie.
Can we watch it sometime? Oh, yeah.
Oh, Andrew, you need to see that movie. That's
I'll watch that
outrageous that you
movie.
haven't seen
I'll
it.
watch that movie when you guys watch Interstellar.
All right, so that means we're on to nitpicks, and I mean, again, I'm not saying it to you guys specifically, but again, it's a goddamn Mortal Kombat movie. What the fuck are you looking for? What are you gonna nitpick here? But I do have some nitpicks.
What are you going
I'm
to
gonna
nitpick
say-
here? Yet I have a nitpick.
We already talked about it. There was no Mortal Kombat tournament in a movie called Mortal Kombat. That was
Okay.
kind of annoying. But I guess the director came out and said after the fact, once the movie had been out and all the spoilers had been released and all that stuff, that he actually always intended for the actual tournament to take place in the second movie. So, okay, I can live with that. That's fine. I thought this was really weird. When Jax picks up Cole and his family, and they're driving away from Sub-Zero, Jax pulls into his little alleyway for his base, and Sub-Zero shows up again. Jax says, I'm going to grab my shotgun, I'm going to shoot off Sub-Zero. You guys need to get to Cary, Indiana. Like, dude, how specific are you going to be in this movie? You need to get to Gary, sorry, not Cary. Gary,
I was just
Indiana.
saying, like,
are you
what's
kidding
Gary,
me?
Indiana?
Gary, Indiana? Get to Gary, Indiana? That was
Gary,
fucking
Indiana.
weird.
Just get there.
I thought that was
no,
funny.
but that's it.
Yeah, and then find Sonya Blade. Get to Gary, Indiana, and find Sonya Blade.
Well,
Like,
Gary,
okay.
Indiana probably has a population of like 500 people.
Probably. Yeah, that's probably
That's
true.
my guess.
And I guess for final nitpick, I thought Cole and his family were probably the weak link of the movie, but I understand why they were in there, because Cole's obviously meant to be like the audience point of view character. Like, he's trying to, see the Mortal Kombat world explained to him in a way that everyone can understand. I get that. But, yeah, Andrew, did you have any nitpicks other than those?
Not really.
Okay, fair enough.
Nothing I can think of.
Kat?
I just didn't like that I was confused in the beginning, and then I was asking you what was going on, because that already made me angry.
It's a very personal nitpick.
No, that I was like, at the beginning, I was like, wait, so
She's
what is the
upset that
plot?
she was confused by
I
You
was
sound like an
upset
old
that-
woman who ordered the wrong meal at a
No.
restaurant. I don't like what I ordered.
No,
That's
no. I didn't like that. Like, I feel like and all of a sudden the movie just started, like Andrew said, like it's just instant action, and I was like, wait, what? Where are we? What happened? And then you were like, oh, it's in a tournament with whatever, and I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, I get the whole idea of Mortal
All
Kombat.
you needed
That's
to understand
fine, but,
about
like,
that first scene was that it was Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
But I also thought that it was going to be like important to like really understand all the subtitles, and I feel like I read them and I was like, I still don't understand what's going on.
Well, otherwise
But-
you wouldn't know what they were talking
Yeah,
about.
well, it was them. It was
So
them
it's kind
talking
of
about
important.
like their family rivalry and history and all that shit.
Right.
Yeah, that was kind of important to read.
I did read it, but then even then I was still like, what did I just read? I don't understand it.
I don't know
okay.
what you're talking about.
All right.
I mean, I don't think it was a really.
Confusing.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think you're.
sorry.
I think you're thinking.
I'm not trying to brag on
I think
you.
you're either smoking way too much weed, or you're thinking way too hard about Mortal Kombat. There's nothing to think about. Just watch it. You're putting way too much stock into like conversations that this conversation didn't make any sense to the other one.
All right.
No shit.
Well, here's a topic that we can all talk about and have fun with, and that would be normally what we would call the best death category, right?
Yeah.
But tonight we're going to call it the best
Fatality.
fatality.
Okay.
Anyone want to go first?
I'll go.
Kat?
I'm gonna say that I really liked when Sonya Blade
Sonya Blade.
killed Khan.
Melina.
What?
Kano.
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 She said
I'm like
Khan.
Khan.
We're not
Because
talking
I-
about
Oh no, because
Genghis Khan.
The thing we watched before when he called it Khan.
Sorry, Sonya Blade
Kano,
killed
whatever.
two people. So
She did actually.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be not more specific.
That's fine.
When Sonya Blade killed Kano.
With the garden.
With the
gnome.
garden gnome to the eye.
Well, and okay, on top of just the way she killed him, it was then, like she was the underdog, I feel like most of the time in this heart-wrenching film that
And she didn't have the dragon
she
mark
didn't have
until
the
she killed Kano.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She didn't have the dragon mark. She was the only woman in this tribe of men that are ready to fight against Sub-Zero, and she's really like headstrong, trying to be with them and be one of them, and then all of a sudden she's like putting up with Kano's shit, and then all of a sudden she kills him with the garden gnome that he made a crack at beforehand, like saying something about stupid garden gnomes. And she just like stabs him in the eye, and then all of a sudden she gets a tattoo, and you're like, yeah!
You go, girl.
You go, girl! And she's my MVP.
Birthmark.
Okay.
No, it was transferred. It's when you kill someone, it's transferred to you.
True.
I like how she had the Pepe Sylvia fucking Mortal Kombat board like in her base there, where it was pretty much just like all kinds of articles and like stuff
Yeah.
going out
Pepe
everywhere.
Sylvia.
Like Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. I got a box full of pepper.
Actually, one of the other things while we're on this is that, like, I didn't like, going back to nitpicks, was that they only really talked about Kano's laser eye for their, like, superpowers. They never explained the weird gold sweater that what's-his-face got, because that was kind of dumb.
Because he wasn't in Raiden's temple when that actually happened, so he didn't have really a chance to talk about it. But yeah, I thought that was also... I'm glad you brought that up, because it was kind of unclear, like, what his
thing
what was his, like, protective shield?
So obviously, like, he's a descendant of Scorpion, right?
Yeah.
But Scorpion's still alive, so he's not Scorpion.
Right.
But he's Scorpion's descendant. So, and he's a new character for the movie. So he's not been in any of the games or anything according to the director, the writer, all that stuff.
If he's a new character, like, giving him something other than...
I mean,
a gold sweater.
I mean, he's handsome as fuck, and he's an awesome martial artist.
Right.
So, I mean...
Yeah, but he should have something cool. Like, also... No, but... No,
you wonder if he, like, will turn into the Hulk or something. You want something more to happen than just being like, here, like, my superpower is sweater.
What's related...
I have a place
What's related to a scorpion? Anything?
I have no idea.
What's what?
Couldn't tell you.
What's like a scorpion's relative? Do they have one? This isn't a joke either.
Relative? Like an insect scorpion?
No, like its uncle.
What are you talking about?
I'm going to say right here. So you said that your favorite death/fatality was Sonya Blade's stabbing Kano in the eye with the garden gnome.
Pretty good.
Andrew, what's yours?
Kung Lao, when he kills that flying, screeching bitch.
Oh, I had that as my first one as well. That's
so good.
Fucking awesome.
Cuts her right in half.
In half. In a fatality straight out of the video games.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Because why else are you going to have a guy with a spinning razor blade hat?
Yeah.
Unless you're going to saw somebody
Better
in half.
use it.
Yep. Yeah, I had that one as my first one too, but also Kano ripping out Reptile's heart, which we've talked about quite a bit, and he says, Kano wins, fucking eye beauty. And then Liu Kang killing Cabal with a giant fire dragon. And then in addition to that, Jax busting open Rico's head with his fucking metallic arms, just smashing his head together.
That was okay.
Yeah, that
are
was
you just
awesome.
gonna name every death?
And then, I'm listing all of them because they were all good. And then also Scorpion breathing fire all over Sub-Zero. Sorry, so good.
That was awesome.
I mean, I'm just here as the host to remind all of our listeners about what the actual fatalities in the movie were. If I had to pick one of those...
When Sub-Zero killed...
I think I have to agree with Andrew. The Kung Lao split down the middle was fucking awesome.
So good. It was like, that was so gory and like, oh...
Actually, what's her face when you can see her spine?
That's your girl Sonya Blade killing Melina.
Which confuses me. Why didn't it go through the spine?
I don't know.
It's
from the games.
It's a gore
From the
factor.
games.
Well, and I remember
if it was just a hole, it would look like it was like The Quick and the Dead. And
right.
The gunslinger got shot.
Exactly.
I just remember, I don't remember the spines as much in like the older ones, but I mean the new one that we've played where they're like...
The older ones, that's like the main thing. He rips out the guy's head with his spine.
Oh, yeah, no, they do, don't
like
they? No, but they don't shoot a hole in them and then you see the spine through the... It's like a
not
whole
that
other
one
level of
specific
like...
death,
Yeah,
yes.
that was from like the new...
Hey, so real quick. Would this movie make a good haunted attraction? Not this time. Let's just skip it.
No?
Haunted attraction? How would this be a haunted attraction?
No way. That's why we're going to skip it. Not this time.
Really? What if you
Correct.
went into
Nope,
a ring and then they had like holograms?
No way.
What if you went into a ring and it just went, get over here?
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat would not work as a haunted attraction.
What if they put like vests on you?
Don't make me sorry that I brought it up and said skip it. Don't make me sorry, please.
All right, okay.
What if they put vests?
I'm like, what if you had like a 4D experience and someone just like
anything with that would be good.
I mean, I think they'd probably get a lawsuit, but...
All right, last category, MVP. Catherine, you've kind of already said yours, so let's get it out of the bag.
Yeah, I think Sonya's my MVP. Girl power.
What else?
I also really like Scorpion. I like the Scorpion back from the dead.
Get over here.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Andrew, what about you?
Wasn't ready for this one.
You weren't ready for a question we've asked on every podcast.
Because I don't really know if I have an MVP for this movie.
Well, we'll come back, Michael.
Because Scorpion's such a boring choice, but it's obviously
I already
Scorpion.
picked him. So...
I'll give you mine and then I'll come back to you.
It's Kano's.
Minus Kano. 100% of the time. Every time.
Hilarious.
He stole every single fucking scene he was in. He was the comedic relief, and it was a shame that he died and that he maybe won't be in the sequels. We'll see. In the games, he gets a metal half of his face with his laser eye. and Sonya stabbing him in that eye might
that's-
make the perfect way for him to come back with a metal face.
Well, I thought Jax was dead too. In the
Well,
beginning, when
and
he got his
that's-
arms ripped off.
yeah.
and Sub-Zero and Goro supposedly
Yeah.
died, and they were swept away by some mystic smoke.
Right.
Gone. So they're
And
both
Scorpion's
coming back.
already come back.
You can't get rid of Sub-Zero in the first one.
Oh, they already said. So this brings me to our next category. Once you say who your MVP is,
I just said Scorpion.
Scorpion. Okay.
Like,
You
it's
said
like-
it was boring. And
I
then
said
you
it's a
picked
boring
him.
choice, but he was awesome.
Okay. Fair enough. So obviously we talk now about if this movie is deserving of a sequel, and I think we all agree that this. would-
Absolutely.
I'd watch
Absolutely.
a second. And a
So
third.
here's a couple things I'll say before we comment on these, okay? So obviously they set things up for a sequel with the Johnny Cage tease right
Yep.
at the end of the movie. As I mentioned, Goro and Sub-Zero are quote-unquote brought back to life. They're, swept away. And Joe Taslim, the actor who plays Sub-Zero, has said that he wants to do a prequel movie about Sub-Zero. And he has been supposedly signed on for another 4 Mortal Kombat movies. So
Wow.
I think it's safe to say there are sequels coming.
Well, it's so funny because I said to Mike when we finished watching it, I was like, do you think these guys are really dead? Like, I mean, and that's also an element of a horror movie is that, the villain is never really dead.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you already saw Scorpion come back to life in this same movie. And I was like, why would you think that, like, all of these other people who, quote-unquote, died during this movie are actually dead? Because, spoiler alert, they're not.
Obviously-
Like, no way.
Goro and Sub-Zero are coming back, but I think Kano, you can also put it in the bank that he's coming back for a sequel. Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
And the guy with the buzzsaw hat, he's not dead.
Kung Lao?
Yeah.
He got his soul sucked, though. I don't know.
Ooh.
Maybe he comes
soul
back
is
as
Maybe
mine.
he vomits his soul back up.
Your soul is mine.
It's true.
Maybe someone kills that guy. and
Maybe
then
his soul is in the
goes back
other
into
realm
whoever.
now.
So yeah, safe to say we'd all be pretty pumped to cover a Mortal Kombat sequel on this show, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, fair enough.
I'd enjoy it.
Guys, final thoughts on Mortal Kombat. Andrew, go.
I don't see why this movie can't have long-term success. Like, I'm not comparing it to Fast and Furious. I hate those movies.
I do too.
But I'm saying if those movies can go on as long as they can with like a base like this, we're not expecting cinematic gold from Mortal Kombat movies.
Right.
So there's no reason why if they stick to this same type of game plan, so to speak, with these types of movies, they should be very successful. And I would continually watch. It's like the John Wick movies. I would just watch them because it's enjoyable and why not?
Yeah.
It's an easy watch.
Right.
I still have yet to see any of the John Wick movies.
I
That's-
know.
so good.
I know.
I gotta watch
I would
them.
So
love
good.
to watch them. We should
Talk about
just-
not having to know anything. Like, I mean, you might find.
I
you
know. I
love
will-
Keanu Reeves.
You know what? You want to talk about heart wrenching, and I'm not even joking.
John Wick movies.
The beginning of John Wick.
Well, I know
is
why he gets into his murderous rampage.
Oh, well, don't tell me. I don't know.
No,
anything.
I'm not going to tell you.
That's heart wrenching.
Agreed. Kat, what about you? Final thoughts on Mortal Kombat, my friend?
Final thoughts. I really liked it. 2 thumbs way up.
We haven't had that in a while.
I'd
Haven't had
watch.
2 thumbs way up in a while, yeah.
I'd watch a sequel. I'd watch it again. I feel like I'd watch it again because I want to.
I would
go
too.
Back
I would
and,
absolutely watch it again.
Yeah, I want to go back and kind of nitpick it like a little bit further through, like
Yeah.
yeah. I just kind of want to go through and like look at it a little bit closer now that I'm like talking.
Wish we had
about
video in
it.
the studio for that.
I
Right
know.
there. That would have been perfect.
Maybe if you make a TikTok page, you can make one of me going. And
Well-
then it would absolutely go viral, and then I would hate myself for it.
I
So-
would say, if anyone values my opinion, that if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, I mean, if you're listening to this episode, what the fuck are you doing? You clearly are made for this movie and this franchise. Go watch this movie. You know, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. It's a good time. You can turn your brain off and just watch people beat the shit out of each other and do gruesome fatalities. It's fucking awesome. So that's all I have to say about that, to quote Forrest
that's
Gump.
nice. Thank you for your opinion.
Yeah, yeah. All right, folks.
Appreciates it.
This has been another episode of America's Hometown Horror. Thanks again for listening. My name is Mike. I've been joined by my fellow co-hosts, Andrew and Kat.
Adios, muchachos.
Well, not
happy.
Finish him.
Finish him. Happy Cinco de Mayo,
Hey,
you guys.
if you're interested in more from us at America's Hometown Horror, here's you can find us on the following social media networks. On YouTube and Facebook, just go on there, search for America's Hometown Horror. Go on Twitter, at Hometown Horror, and on Instagram you can find us at Hometown Horror Pod. You can also shoot us an email at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com, and very soon we will be launching a website where you can find us. We will be posting that URL as soon as we have it, and you can also find our podcast on every podcast platform you listen to, including Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, and pretty much wherever the fuck else you get your podcasts. My name is Mike. I've been joined by Andrew and Kat. Thank you to them as always, and say goodbye to your audience, folks. Bye.
Adios, muchachos.
See you guys later.
Bye. Bye.
I just want to say bye too.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. That's right, the Inebriart Podcast Network, folks. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.